So well, I wanted to start this story actually when we first became co-owners, because I don't know who was here for the original Oscar party. Is anybody here? Woo! A few people, so not that many actually. When we first became owners, we did an Oscar for the Oscars. We invited everybody to come in. It was a free event. We did it again this year. It's a nice annual gathering for people that like movies, and we were able to watch the Oscars together. People got dressed up. But that first year, we actually handed out, as part of the ballots of the voting on the Oscars, a survey to say, like, what are the things you love about the Rio? What are some memories you have of the Rio? What are things that you want to be better about the Rio? And then we also sent out, through our email list, an actual online version of that, where we basically asked for people's opinions. Go to the next slide. And hundreds of people responded, which again was such a positive thing in my view, in terms of people care. And that's like the biggest signal that I've seen, is that people really, really care about this place. Of course, heat was the number one thing. I think we did it in January or February. Of course, everyone's like, this thing needs to be warmer, we're dying here. And we did look into it last year deeply. We really want to help make the place warmer. In reality, to make it truly warm, we have to take this whole thing down. We have to put new foam roof on there. It's it could be $70,000. It's a huge amount of money to do it. What we're looking into is a more local version, where maybe in the back there might be some local heating for the back 4 or 5 rows, so at least people who are coming here in the neighborhood. But the other two main things that were ideas that people generated from the community, we did not ask for, were beer and wine in the theater. That was people, dozens of people basically just proactively brought that idea up. The second one was basically around more events. Some were more tied to films. Some were let's do different kinds of events. A lot of people said live music. It would be cool to have live music in this venue. I guess there's a history of there being that kind of thing here in Rio. And so that was where this actual signal came from, is from the actual community that that comes to the theater. It's we would love to have beer and wine and have more interesting events. And that was right when we started the process, first of transitioning the beer and wine license that's in the cafe that was part of Don and Susie, to transition that over to the new owners, and then now with this new wing. So go to the next one. So this is basically some key milestones around the process that we went through and continue to go through with 2 different entities. The California ABC, which is the one that regulates all alcohol sales and distribution in the state of California, and then Sonoma County, the planning department, and then various other departments. So with the ABC, we talked to both of them to try to find out what are the regulations, what are the requirements, what do we need to do to make this work in a way that totally complies with the law. And so the first step with the ABC was there was a public posting. So on the front of the theater on January 10th, for 30 days, there was an actual sign that said, the Rio Theater intends to sell beer and wine on this premises. And then we mailed 75 letters in the middle of January to basically 75 residents that were within I think it was 500 feet of the Rio. And that was just, yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Were those mailed to residents or to property
From-
owners?
Go for it.
Yeah, so we got the list of addresses that were within that area from the post office local, and they're the ones that told us who we should mail it to.
So in that case, I believe it was based on what we know, it was residents that time, not the second time, which was the county mailed those. And then basically, Tim and I actually just walked around one Saturday, and I think we talked to a few people, but we did, of course, get everybody. We basically knocked on doors throughout the various streets, and we talked to probably 6 people that actually were there, and we had a conversation. And based on all of that feedback, was basically either great or I don't care. That was kind of what we heard. I believe there was one person that said, I guess it would be nice to have don't have bottles. Maybe we could have something that's less less breakable in the theaters. That was really the only.
Did you get any letters back because they weren't deliverable?
I don't think so.
Because the post office only delivers to the P.O. box, not to any of the residents don't get mail delivery.
It's totally possible.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's basically what we did with the ABC. And then the things that they required us to do. So in order to actually have beer and wine to be able to sell it in this area, we need to expand our menu. And it's because you don't want to have a bar, vibe. That's what bars are. This is not a bar. And so in order, beyond just the hot dogs, they are asking us to basically expand the menu to include things like quesadillas, some sandwiches, some salads. And it's sort of, I don't know exactly what their thinking is, but it's just part of the requirement of how to make alcohol work in a community is that, having a diversity of food actually makes it so that there's less drunk people, less drunk people basically. Is there anything else
Well,
you
I
want to
think
add
that
there?
basically what they're looking for is that we are a bona fide eating establishment, and we have that permit over on